Ravi, 271.
Yes.
Truth is unfathomable.
When you have found eternal peace for yourself, you do not have to fight with people for anything which you think may give you happiness.
That is a great truth. When you have found eternal peace of yourself, you do not have to fight with people for anything which you think may give you happiness. Now, why are you fighting with people? To get something from them which we think will give us more happiness than what we have. So, when we have happiness, we have eternal happiness and eternal peace. There's no need for us to fight for it from anybody else. That is why it said, those who have got eternal peace are contented in themselves, and there is no need for them to fight with anybody else for getting that.
Your happiness then does not depend on any worldly thing.
Here it is self-contained happiness, as they call. His happiness is coming from his own self, because he is abiding in his own self always and does not depend upon anything in the world to give him happiness.
You have found it within yourself.
Yeah.
That is what you call God realization.
That is what it means by God realization. You have tapped the source of happiness, that is the eternal source of happiness within you, and you do not have to depend upon anything outside to give you happiness.
That is what you call God realization, moksha or nirvana.
The same God realization means, in other words, moksha or nirvana. Usually the word moksha is used here, sometimes God realization. Nirvana is used rarely. That is the Buddhist expression, nirvana.
What is nirvana? It is to be free from all desires and find within yourself the reality which you cannot define.
What is nirvana? It is to be free from all desires and find within ourselves the reality which we cannot define. Now, yesterday we were talking about Prabhupada's sadhana and the ultimate realization. Realization of our oneness with God makes us liberated souls. Liberation from the cycle of birth and death. Now here Prabhupada puts it in a different way. Nirvana, it is to be free from all desires and find within ourselves the reality which we cannot define. We become one with that divinity within ourselves, and we cannot describe that state because it is indescribable. Now, what do we gain by reaching that state? The first thing we gain is liberation from the cycle of birth and death. Now, to reach that state, we have removed or eradicated all our desires. Desires for any type of enjoyment, desires for possessing anything, desire of any kind whatsoever has been eradicated. Means we become absolutely desireless before we can get that state. Now, along with the desires, we had accumulated quite a lot of which we call dirt by way of impressions of our previous desires and activities done by us. We have done a lot of things, good or bad. All those actions have formed impressions in our mind. And those impressions have to be wiped off before we can be really eligible to enter into the kingdom of God. That is what happens in our sadhana. The sadhana is to purify ourselves from, or free ourselves from all desires and eradicate or remove all the vasanas of the previous desires and actions. If this is done, we become perfectly pure and are eligible for entry into the realm of God. That is, we become one with God. Now, having become one with God, what do we gain? We become absolute peace, absolute bliss ourselves. What more is required? We become peace and bliss absolute. We become one with peace and bliss absolute and remain there. In some cases, according to the wish of the devotees concerned, they try to, or they maintain a subtle individuality instead of merging in that ocean completely. They maintain a subtle individuality. Merging in the ocean is like a dew drop falling in the sea and becomes one with the sea. There is no trace of dew drop again. But in this case, the individuality, in a very subtle way, the purest possible way, is maintained even after we merge our little self in the cosmic self. That is maintained for the purpose of so-called play or lila of God, to have more joy in playing with Him or in serving Him, in playing with Him as a child plays with the mother, or a servant serves the master. There is great joy in such service, and just to have that joy, bhaktas maintain that subtle individuality, even after realizing their oneness with Him. Now, when they live in the world, after getting the experience, what is the difference between them and ordinary men? Ordinary men are subject to or bound by their own desires, their own vasanas, their likes and dislikes, their pairs of opposites bind them always. They are never free. They may not admit that they are not free, but they are bound by so many things which themselves do not know. But liberated souls, though in the same type of body, they are absolutely free. They have no more desires. They have no more likes and dislikes. They love everybody equally, without any distinction whatsoever. And they are ever blissful. They never feel the pinch of sorrow anywhere. And they, from their standpoint, say that everything in the world is exactly as it should be. There is nothing wrong with the world. It is our impure mind that says that something is wrong here, something is wrong there, I am unhappy here, I am happy there. These are all the labels given by the impure mind. When our mind is perfectly purified and become one with God, we see God alone everywhere, and we see that the world is the play of God or lila of God, and everything in the world is exactly as it should be. So you can imagine how happy a man can be who has such a vision, to say that the whole world is exactly as it should be. We cannot make any change in it. If at all we have to change, it is our own outlook. That is, purify ourselves and see it with a different tint of glass, as they say. Now we are looking at the world with a colored glass. We do not see everything properly. If we change the glass and remove the tint, plain glass, you will be able to see the world as manifestation of God. This is the vision of saints. Yes.
Ramdas was greatly charmed with the passages which he found in the Light of Asia, where an attempt has been made to express what that great truth is. It is not an attempt but a confession of the incompetence of man to define that state. In Edwin Arnold's words, it is said, "Do not deep the string of thought into the unfathomable. He who questions us, he who answers us."
No, this is very important. We cannot understand anything about the absolute existence because he is unimaginable, he is inexplicable. Even those who have experienced him cannot say what he is, how he is, where he is, though they say he is everywhere, no doubt. But to explain about him, to say what he is, it is impossible. That is why Buddha had said, it is, do not dip the string of thought into the unfathomable. You try to put the string of thought into the unfathomable. You try to find out the depth of the unfathomable. It is impossible because he who questions is making a mistake, and he who answers is also making a mistake. But nobody can say what he is. Nobody can reach these depths.